Chairman, I suggest that you read them from 1 to 23.
Yes.
And that somebody be out here to count hands, please.
Okay, Doug Moore, since you're not voting, would you count from the back, please?
What's this voting for?
We're voting on the proposals,
You're gonna read all the proposals first?
right?
What they gonna do?
No. Oh, you're gonna get front from. I need a sheet of paper.
It's been suggested that I was crazy for thinking that, asking that question. I don't think it has anything to do with my mental comment. I'm asking the question.
Oh, no, now don't give me The first proposal,
It's Ben Davis on employment and training.
CNAB, Ben Davis, Employment and Training.
Doug, you count from the back.
The first proposal is from CNAB, Ben Davis, Employment and Training.
Let both of y'all count, and then we can get. Yeah, we got two counters. How many you count, Tag? Both of y'all got 32. Okay. Both of them got 32.
Mr. 32.
Of them.
Like, we didn't establish any criteria except residence. That means that there was no age qualification, that's all.
There's no age qualification, Av. I don't think that we ought to get into that. The second proposal is the Anacostia. You know, we're going to miss something, and then you're going to jump up and start to scream, and you just missed it. Anacostia Economic Development Corporation, Charlie Vaughn, is planning and development. Yes.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Everyone in favor of the Anacostia Economic Development Corporation's proposal, planning and development, Charlie Vaughn.
Charlie, step out. Vaughn, step up.
Raise your hands high. How many?
The third proposals submitted by DC Public Schools, first being Science Teacher Resource Center, submitted by Edward J. Edwards. No, I'm not reading it as a package. Each proposal must be voted on separately. Those in favor of the Science Teaching Resource Center. Specialized Learning Center. preschool program. Yes.
There's a problem here. People are saying there are 6 proposals, and we may be going through one, and they may want to vote on it, be too late. So this is why I'm speculating we run through them first, just the name.
I am running through them.
No, but you voted on it, and yours, see, and maybe one that's gone past somebody want to vote on.
Lucky, I don't think I can, I don't. Yeah,
She read them.
Madam Chair,
yes,
can I
Mr.
raise a
Kennard.
procedural question with regard to this proposal? That, my procedural question is that with regard to the school project's proposal, that if they get a vote of confidence on the package, they be responsible for pulling together one proposal out of that, rather than our going through 6.
But these were submitted by different people to Dr. Abramowitz.
Well, Dr. Brownwoods is the key person to work a proposal out of that.
No, but they're not. She said they were not, Ben. Okay, those in favor of the proposals from DC Public Schools. It's 5, 6. No, they didn't, they're lucky. They didn't establish that. I want you to know that there are no more programs on Valley Avenue. How many is it?
10.
Phoebe needs to go home. Okay? DC Public Schools. Well, Doug, we didn't do that, so Drug education alleviation liaison, Mike Dunmore. Drug education and alleviation liaison, Mike Dunmore. Street Academy, Charles Howard. There was an orally given proposal by Mr. Thorne. That was car removal,
Abandoned cars.
abandoned car removal. Is there a vote on the car removal? Okay. Drug education, NDC 3, Teresa Jones. I'm not voting. It's really not my, well, I'm not voting. John Kennard, Anacostia Museum,
Communication.
Communications. Sorry. Absalom Jordan, Ghetto Citizens Communications. I tell you. See, this guy started the worst battle at Anacostia has ever seen. Yes, it is. I'm gonna resign right on after this from this Bicentennial. You watching?
How many?
Haskell Larry, NDC3 Senior Citizens.
How many?
5. Frederick Douglass United Community Center, Bill Sanders, Youth Services. Helen Smith, Skyland Civic Association Communications.
No, how many for Bill Sanders?
2.
There was more than 2 hands up for Bill Sanders.
The count I got from the counters was 2.
Okay. Okay, Helen Smith.
Is there a count on Skyland Civic Association's communications? Sigrid Washington, D.C. Public Libraries Outreach Centers. James Taggart, Far Southwest Civic Association. What was it? Daycare and Cultural Arts. Okay, that's the extent of the proposals.
Okay. You want me to read them?
Are there any questions? No, they don't need to be read again. We don't need to hassle that. We won't have not any programs in Congress Heights, none.
You shouldn't say that.
Well,
Let
it's
these
true.
people know
No, it's
what
not.
programs are the first floor.
No, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry.
I got
The
Dan.
programs that are the programs with the highest number of votes.
Ben Davis.
It's Ben Davis, John Kennard, AEDC,
And Charles Howard Street Academy.
and Charles Howard Street Academy.
Call those 4 people up here.
So they need to come down.
They need to come up here.
The people need to come up here. Yes, Mr. Jordan. Before you come up here, let's entertain the questions that need to be asked. Any questions? Mr. Jordan has been recognized.
I had two proposals, only one of them read. You had all six of DC school systems proposed.
But I had to lump them together.
No, ma'am. We had six separate proposals. The issue had been made.
The issue was raised, and it was the consensus of the body that I read them together. Would the audience please quiet down so we can hear the questions being asked? They asked that I lump them together. That was the reason that I read yours. Well, if you,
Vote on this other communication.
okay. We have one more proposal to vote on. We voted on the Ghetto Citizens Communications. What was the second?
The athletic.
The
program.
youth athletic program, Ghetto Citizens.
We need that. By 4. Okay.
And I voted for it, which makes it 11. Are there any questions? Mr. Spade? We have no programs going into Congress sites, and the citizens up there are going to raise them there. Go ahead, Jim.
I move that the review committee reviews the employment program with the idea of expanding it to include job training opportunities.
Say what now?
I move that the review committee review the employment program with an eye toward extending it to include job training opportunities. Details can be worked out in the review process.
Would that entail changing someone's proposal?
Madam Chair,
And half.
You can't do that now. Mr. Jordan?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Did he say that half of the people come from cul-de-sacs?
52%.
You want to deal with my question?
Yes, I'm waiting for it. If people would be quiet. Mr. Jones, you're holding a meeting in the back of the room. Mr. Henry Womack, you're holding a meeting in the back of the room.
Let Mr. Space, state.
Mr. Jordan,
Make your motion again.
I move that the employment program be examined by the review committee for the purpose of determining how it may be extended to include job training opportunities.
That's all?
Right.
Oh, I think you said that. Something from cul-de-sacs.
And it was seconded by
is there any unreadiness on the motion? Mr. Jordan?
I haven't read it. What does that mean?
I don't know what it means.
It seems as though I think that Mr. Davis ought to entertain that question because it seems as though you are changing or adding to his proposal. Ben, did you hear the question? We don't have any programs going to Congress sites. You know what that's going to cause?
Ben, speak to that.
Ben, you're going to speak to this.
I'm sorry, okay. I'm looking
Would
for
you
a
repeat?
brown envelope in here with some information in mind, that's why I was walking all around the place.
Would you repeat your motion, Mr. Spate? You had it when you went back and read the drug
No, you
abuse
read,
thing
I mean,
there.
you said.
When you were talking, you had it in your hand and you walked back in there.
I move that the review committee review the employment proposal to determine how it might be extended
he's talking about you expanding yours.
I have no problem working with any, any organization to provide job opportunities for the Anacostia community, but Jim, I'd like to caution you that I've been charged by the CNAB's board to make the presentation with the addicts and ex-addicts that's receiving services in the Anacostia community in the drug programs that's going on now, that they would get priority to the benefit of this proposal. But if there is any way that it can be extended beyond those persons with, and bearing in mind that they are the priority people, I have no objection to it.
My motion doesn't have any effect on that, really. It's just trying to prevent setting up another program just to focus solely on that, so you can utilize the basic staff to deal with that question. You recall the presentation I made?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
in part.
yeah. So who has to run that program to do it all?
He says that he has no problem with it. Is there any other unreadiness?
See, here's what the point is. Job development requires developing a relationship and agreement with employers. That's right. You see?
Right.
And what I'm saying is that you can't held on it now. So why don't we try and work out a training program in the areas of human resources and environmental services, and train some folks, community improvement kind of things for this area, funded under here. Try to work out some agreements where they can be either employed by district government after this training and work experience out here in the next 2 to 3 years, or give them, we may look towards setting up some kind of trash company or doing your own thing.
Fine, it doesn't, I don't have no problem with it.
Okay, is there any other unreadiness? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Are there any other questions?
Madam Chairman, may I have
Mr. Canard?
make a statement? Is that, my statement is this, is that it's going to be our responsibility tonight, those of us who assembled, as well as those persons who submitted those 4 proposals, to work with us. And I would like to extend that committee.
Say what?
I would like to extend that committee to include, one of the proposals had to do with communications. Mr. Jordan had a communications proposal, that he be included on this expanded committee, that Mr. Spate and Mr. Saunders also be included on the expanded committee to work with us tonight in the workup of these proposals. That's a suggestion, and if need be, I'll put in the form of a motion.
Mr. Womack? We already elected alternates at the last meeting on Friday. Is that a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second to what? Oh, to John.
My motion was that we have Mr. Spate, Mr. Saunders, and Mr. Jordan to work with the expanded committee on the 4 proposals we're going with.
I'd like to hear Mr. Jordan speak.
What you found?
I don't think it's a matter of whether
I had it when I left.
You had the communication thing, and he's
I
had.
say, I don't think it's a matter of whether or not I want to work with somebody. I think we work and help each other on the proposal. That's not the question, I think. So like, I can't go along with it now, because I think there's a large issue to be raised, and whether or not we work together on the proposal. There's an issue that involves, some other things, and I think we need to bring those issues up. I think had the meeting on the 29th, voted, things would have been different, and those are some of the things, that we should consider because, again, like, we have some problems, and we'll find out what the procedure is.
Madam Chairman, what I'm doing really is asking, Mr. Jordan, Mr. Spate, and Mr. Saunders, if they would work with the Bicentennial delegation, as well as those persons who submitted those 4 proposals who may not be on the delegation to work with us as we work the strategies for presentation and further political backup of these proposals coming from SAC 4.
I have no problem working with it. If you just talk about working with it, I'm still working with the things that we want to accomplish. I don't have no problem working with it.
You know, the city had big reviews, this is black, and the problem kept it with Anacostia, like all you actually do is consolidate your knowledge with communication. This man had, this guy, the black brother, said he's concerned about conversation, now raising the problem for all black people. I think all 50 codes should be consolidated, work together, with the program.
You know what the outcry is gonna be? When they hear this, it's
I
gonna be
agree with you
ridiculous.
on that. Historically, though, all right, if you want to make a historical analysis of it, we'll see that historically, some areas have benefited while others haven't. And we raised an issue Friday at that meeting, and the body at that time adopted the principle of allocating funds on the basis of one man, one vote. Y'all were there.
Looking at our total
We
community.
accepted the secretary feedback, no.
We, Mr. Sanders, do you have a statement you'd like to make on the request? Mr. Sanders, do you have a statement that you'd like to make on the request?
Are you willing to work? Mr. Spade? Tonight
Mr.
will be
Spade?
fine.
Do you have a statement to make on the request?
Are you willing to work? Yes. No, you don't have a
Yes, you have a choice. The only thing, we the ones that don't have a choice. Was there a second on the motion?
It wasn't a motion, it was a request. It was a request.
Well, if there are no further questions, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Madam Chairman,
Mr. Jordan.
several things. One, I'd like to make a report as to how one goes about filing a formal protest before the assembly with respect to this matter. And the second thing was that there were certain guidelines established that we were told about. That was the programs were to be innovative and creative and were not to duplicate already existing programs. So, I'd like to know in light of that, what we can do in bringing forth a challenge to the proposals as they were here tonight. I'm sure once we get back into conversation.
We'd have to answer that for you later, Mr. Jordan. I'm sure we'll get an answer for you within the week.
At this point, can we lodge
Of course, you can lodge the complaint, but we don't know how it would be handled. There has been no established guidelines.
All right.
Write it out, Judge.
Apparently, there were some guidelines,
There's been no established guidelines as to how you lodge a formal complaint.
but there were guidelines.
You can state your protest for the record, your challenge and your protest for the record. And then we'd have to give you an answer as to how you lodge your complaint.
But Madam Chairman, the procedures as stated earlier indicated that the concerns that he raised here now will be considered in the next 2 steps of the review process.
He's talking about the acceptance or denial of his proposal, I think. Of his 2 proposals, I believe. Okay, state your protest for the record.
All right, Madam Chairman, we were instructed that there were guidelines which were to be followed in drawing up proposals to be submitted for consideration by the SAC area, submitted for the Bicentennial Commission, all right? And that those instructions stated that the proposals would meet certain guidelines. That those guidelines stated the programs would be creative, innovative, and would not duplicate already existing programs.
is that the district government has a facility for weeding out duplications of effort, duplicate proposals. That's number one. Is as far as we are concerned here, is that if we are going to, you know, start batting about each other, is that we aren't going to go anywhere as far as what we've decided to go along with. And I've opened up every possibility for us to work together. Now, if we can't work together, it's because we don't want to work together. And if that is being challenged, I suggest that I don't want to have any part of it as the chairman of this delegation. And further, as chairman of this delegation, I would offer, and do offer, my resignation to the whole bicentennial process.
Hey, John, don't do that to me. I'm trying to deal with a very simple issue, bro. You know that. Please don't play upon the people's emotions as to whether or not you should resign or anything. I ain't asking for your resignation, so, like, it's out of order at this point, right? I'm just asking what, you know, the whole question about divisiveness and unity should have been discussed earlier.
And what we got to do is sit down at this table tonight and start working. That's what we got to do. If you want to know.
Madam Chairman, may I respond to that? I know 2 of the proposals that is on this table as being part of the 4 proposal package was read twice. It was read at the Friday meeting, and everybody did not have the benefit of guidelines. They got the flyer, such as my proposal. 2 of those proposals that's on the table to go down and be considered was read twice, once at the Friday meeting and once at this meeting. And the same brother over there read his and didn't raise no protest either at the Friday meeting or now. And now all of a sudden, here comes the protest. You read yours.
No, ma'am, I did not.
You read yours tonight. But you heard the reading of 2 of those proposals. You heard the Anacostia project. I'm sorry, you heard John Canon's 3 proposals. All right, you heard my proposal.
That still doesn't validate my challenge.
Economic development proposal. And the contents of those proposals were never challenged by you. And all during the whole meeting.
I'm challenging them there after the fact, right?
Yeah, well,
So, you are no shit.
I can't do that until after all questions have been entertained. I recognize Ms. Hutchinson, you being disrespectful. Mr. Jordan has the floor, and he has the right to lodge a complaint just like everybody else. Whether we agree with it or whether we disagree with it, that happens to be his right in this meeting. Lodge your complaint, Mr. Jordan. No, this meeting. I cannot entertain a motion to reconsider until after you finish lodging your complaint. Now, the secretary asked you, wait a minute, Mr. Jordan. The secretary asked you to state your protest and your complaint so that she could record it for the record. You have not done that.
Now, here's my complaint. I'm saying that as stated by the guidelines, that we feel that it's very simple, that we feel that the proposals which were submitted, all right, did not.
Write it out, Jordan, write it down.
And the second thing we feel is that the money is being allocated in a different way and ensure that all the proposals are now in Lower Anacostia and in Anacostia. Those are simple things. And that's it. That statement. Madam Chairman, a motion.
Wait. Have you finished your?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I wanted to write.
Okay. There's some people who they you can't address yourself to the complaint because, just a minute, you can't address yourself to the complaint because the only procedure we have is the fact that in a meeting run by Robert Rules of Order, people have the right to make complaints and protest actions that have gone on. We don't have any established procedures for handling this action. So at this point, he can only make his protest and his complaint. So you cannot address yourself to the complaint. Now, Mr. Jordan has asked the floor for a motion. I give him the floor. Wait, hold on just a minute. Don't look at me like that, Paul Gossett. You can address the motion. Go ahead, Jordan. I've seen you do it. Go ahead, Ab. Mr. Jordan has the floor.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the proposal to be submitted.
Tonight, got to be tonight.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to say that we reconsider the proposals.
Tomorrow night,
They got to be in tomorrow morning.
No, Ab, I have to rule your time limit out of order. Okay, that we reconsider the proposals. It has been seconded. Is there any unreadiness?
Madam Chairman, you reconsider all the proposals?
The people.
Is there any unreadiness?
Before you go home.
All those in favor of the motion will signify by raising his hand. Mr. Taggart, will you count from the front, and Mr. Moore, would you count from the back? Count how many? All those opposed? I can't, so I have to count.
Come on, we gonna meet. How many?
Okay, the motion is lost. Haskell Larry. E.W. Hutchison Jr.
Okay, I'm writing down.
Louise D. Hutchison.
Nay. That's two.
Anna B. Jones. Rosa T. Penderhughes. Isaac Kearney Jr. Kenneth Eldridge. James Cole Jr. What does this look? Somebody 26, oh, Dunmore. Charles Howard. Charles Howard. Hilda Kearney. Paul Gothard Jr. Virgil A. Crimes. What's this, Talley? Louis B. Talley. Joseph Kersing. Moses Adams. Benjamin Davis.
No.
John Blake. Kestrel Leftier. Wendy Cameron. Donna Prelo. No, no. James Nuttall. William Sanders. Arnita Rose. Denise Watson. Charles Robinson. Doris Lane. Ganell Sanford. Are you voting yes or no? Oh, she's not voting, sorry. Kevin Sanford. Jacqueline Ferguson. Absalom Jordan. Charles Vaughn. Oh, that's right, you can't vote. Who is this? Patterson Maurice? Clark, 1435 Ridge Place. Somebody Parker, 1235 Alabama Avenue. Mike Dunmore. Rose Leggett. Charles Stevenson. Bunky Brown.
Yes.
I know. SIKERD, 3630 Brothers Place. Earl. Is that Fleur? Never know. Dorothy Alston. Kim Tilden. William Myers. Henry Womack. Magnolia Burton. Almore Dale. Samuel Burton. Valerie Owens. Abraham Scott. Moselle Scott. No, she's not absent. Sigrid Washington. Barrington Bell. Helena Martin. Cicero Martin. Virginia Stewart. Beverly Spain. Floyd, 1333 T Street Southeast. Ralph Mayer. LaWanna Brown. Tawana Tabor. Garnett Green. Edgar Tyler, Leonard Jackson. Francis Brown. David Hall. Jesse Hamilton. S.B. Carroll. Sterling. James Spate. Steve Adams. E.S. Hope. Marion C. Hope. Alice B. Gould. Is that it? Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 no's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 yes.
You got more than going around.
I got 3 of them.
Yeah, but I signed one was 2 forms like that long.
Those are the same ones that were up there. You can make a challenge otherwise.
No, it
It was another one going around.
Is there another
She
sheet in the
signed one and I
audience?
signed another.
It was
the
4
same
sheets
one. It
and
was
we only
another
had
sheet
3.
going around.
Yes, there's a sheet missing.
Whispered to the woman and told her. I said that those
Teresa
are
never called my name. That's why I came up here.
But no, she was hitting that. She was here, so we can't say
What the
that.
hell you talking about?
Do you want to vote, Tina? Tina. 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 Tina, do you want to vote? Can you vote?
I'm asking for my community. I live down here 30 plus. How long have you been here?
I've been here long enough to say it's my goddamn computer.
Well, Lord, it does.
Hey, look, let's not have an argument, Ben. Let's not have an argument. There's 1 sheet missing. If there's anybody that wants to register to vote, they can.
It wasn't up here in the beginning. It was 4 that went out and only 3 came back.
I want to register to vote. They sign in.
this thing, we had a certain number of persons on here, I think 68 people. And all you have to do is count that thing with 68 persons on it. That's exactly what was about. 68 persons. Yes, 68 persons. And that's how we came up with the rationale of performance. 68 persons was the number that you counted. It was counted when we started. 68 names. You may have 110 on there, but everybody didn't register. I'm saying that the chair called on 68 names.
Then at that point on the sign-in sheet may have been 68, but there are people on here who have not even been numbered. Ms. Hope, Anita Rose, they have not even been
Those
numbered.
persons came up to you.
No, these were some, you remember when I called?
Mrs. Hope and all of them came up to you.
Before we started to vote on the proposals, I called for everybody to sign up who had none. So we can't, don't come up here arguing with me tonight, BB. Sit down, I ain't gonna Is there anyone else who wants to sign up? What's your name? Ray. Ray what?
But that ain't the point, man. No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
Program capable of dealing
Capable of what?
dealing with the many problems existing in this area. Many problems that they purport to address.
Okay.
And finally, that the notice was served in Congress Heights. No, finally that people in Congress Heights were under the impression that the voting would take place on the 29th. And because of various on the 29th?
Yeah, I got the 29th.
All right. And that their representatives appeared ready to vote. Ready to vote, right? The meeting was continued until August the 1st, October the 1st, and there was no attempt to significantly reach the citizens of Anacostia. Of Congress Heights.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So that their presence and vote. Their presence and vote.
Their presence
and vote.
Wait a minute. Them same guys from CMA made the most of that they hold me down here. Yes, it did.
Their presence and votes.
Their presence and
votes could have been counted.
Over on the left-hand side of the room in front of
approximately 70.
Approximately
70% of the residents in this SAC area. We got to do it this way.
Go ahead.
Living in NDC3.
Are living
here in NDC3.
How many were there? What was the results of it?
And
what the last count?
What was the results of it? How many no's and how many yes?
This is not tonight's meeting. If you stop
NDC3
this is September 29th.
there was no proportionate representation.
I don't know. It was 4 of them.
At this meeting, which voted for proposals vital to the community.
No what? Appropriate.
Yeah, appropriate representation.
What is the results of the last poll?
No appropriate representation.
Yeah. At this meeting.
See, it was 4 sheets out there. Yeah, I adjourned it. And see, there was some people that weren't even numbered. And there was 4 sheets out there.
All these white questions.
But you better not go home till the door is locked.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Was Tina's name on the list?
No, it is not. No, it is not. We admit this is not the list. That's the list of people who wanted to give proposals. It was 4 sheets out there. One of the sheets is missing. If you don't have somebody custodian the role, this happens. So there's no need of getting.
So, but she signed the sheet.
But I asked her to come back up and vote.
else in the house who didn't get a chance to vote?
Yeah, 2 of us, 3 people.
But that changed.
No.
That changed.
No.
What was the count? What was the count?
There is an argument. You know that. You
Yes,
know
yes,
that.
sir.
People have the right, Paul. Now, if I took the right away from you, you wouldn't like it. Be real. You said be realistic. If I took the right away from you to one vote, you wouldn't like it. So people have the right.
How have you come to the conclusion that nothing's going to be in Congress?
Hey man, here's what I'm looking for. Right now, there is no control over any problem, so we can assume that nothing's gonna be up there. And if it's gonna be up there, is it gonna be tokenism? We don't need no black folks to give us tokenism like white folks been doing. Dig. When you start giving out model cities money, there's always tokenism. We're gonna give a few Spanish surname people some money, you know, we'll give a few Oreos some money, and we might treat. Dig, John, you know the issue I'm raising. Had the vote been taken Friday night,
Our sitting down and working together. That's what the question is.
y'all have been gated
And on this communications thing, we need your help.
You ain't got no
to stay
problem with getting
together.
my help. I don't have no problem with that.
Well, what's the
There's no
fight?
problem. The fight is that there ain't no programs up there.
We might not get a dime out of the whole pie.
I'd be glad to help promise him that you set the thing up for Congress.
Right, right.
No, that ain't it either. That ain't it. And look, Ab, what we need. No, that ain't it.
You can't play games without giving me some favoritism. I don't need no money in my pocket. I'm working for black folks. You damn have nothing. So I don't need you can't buy me with no money. That's not gonna satisfy me.
Ab, listen.
Oh, where my key? Yeah.
Is that the thing is, as far as the 4 proposals are concerned, it's gonna take the best that we can give to get a dime, number one. And I think that what we ought to come up with is a process, some kind of organized process where we decide together where these things ought to be. I think that's what we ought to do together. You see, I think it ought not be down here based on some political thing, or up there based on need. And we look at that, we understand.
All right, John, look, if we could have dealt with this before the meeting, that would have been no problem. All right?
It hasn't been dealt with at all.
I know, I'm digging on that. But you know, Friday there was a meeting and certain things would have been done. And the reason we asked for the one man, one vote principle at that time was so that nobody would get screwed. Ain't nobody trying to screw nobody, especially from up that hill.
I don't think anybody's been screwed right now.
I do. You know how that is, man.
We got to work together on this thing.
We gotta get together now, because this stuff gotta be in tomorrow morning.
Under what pretext do we get together? Do we get together as equals? Do we get together
As equals.
That's what it's got to be.
As equals.
That's what it's got to be.
Now,
Well, we got to put something up there.
you know all the programs are situated down here right now, and they provide no services up there.
And we got to put
We ain't
something
got
up
a
there.
drug program up there. You doubt we got as many addicts as they got down
Yeah,
here?
we gotta put
And
something up there,
How they
huh?
gonna get 40 cents to catch them? Somebody takes all of them to get
Yeah, let's sit down at the table and put something up there. Of these
Who
folks,
gonna
let's
take
put
care
it
of the
up.
Congress Heights addicts? The question arises, you said it takes 5 times to steal 5 times, must that mean you gotta steal $2 to get down here to get some treatment or something? I'm saying, man, when are we gonna start dealing with, you know I live up there, we're gonna start dealing with the people up there, like, they are our equals, like they are,
Ab, can we agree on this, that if we can work this communications proposal up, that's where I think your expertise is with regard to that proposal. Okay. Can we agree that if we can get the thing through, that we put it in Congress Heights? And if we also agree who controls, we also agree on that too.
I won't have no problem with that.
Okay, then that's what we gonna do today.
Itemize 3 ways that it could be controlled: 1 Bicentennial, 1 Anacostia Museum, 1 community governance. And we decide the process. That's all.
All right.
Okay, then, come on.
That just deals with that one.
That's only deals with that
What
one
about
that I had a little bit to do with. But I think what we do
I'm for
is
that,
we got Ben in here, the other guy, my man here from the Street Academy. Well, Vaughn had to go. But most
Vaughn
of us
had
are here.
even Vaughn down there.
Vaughn's back there waiting, man. We're waiting to sit down and talk about it.
Come on, let's sit down as a group and do
But you
this.
see, if we keep, batting each other, time is passing, and we're gonna end up with
We got to
nothing.
have this stuff by tomorrow morning.
With
We're
nothing.
gonna get the communication
That's the thing that frustrates
of
the
the
hell out of me.
conversation.
I try to be fair. You know what I mean? Honest to God, man.
I'm not saying anything against you, all right? I'm just saying the way we came
But the
in.
thing that troubles, why don't we listen to the because if we go in with $1.5 million worth of proposals, we got to have a rationale for that money.
You should go in with $1,150,000 worth of proposals.
Okay, that means we got to sit down with the proposals and put them all together as like my budget, I got $500,000. I don't know if this is right or not. You know what I mean?
I talked to Fletcher about that the other day. I don't know if he got back with you on it.
Well, Fletcher would say that you could do it for $60,000 for much less money. But you see, I took a high figure. I took a high figure based on a whole lot of equipment, a whole lot of trainees.
Yeah.
Go back and see just what happened.
Look at it, and look at
What's
the
that
crowd.
people down here?
I'm gonna tell you no.
You know how many people we had?
I'm gonna tell you, mate, the guy that's standing here in a maroon coat made the motion. The guy with the black leather coat won second motion, and they were sitting in front of Ben because they checked it to see if the museum was clear.
It's clear.
Right.
What do you mean?
If they could have a meeting here, and that's where the motion came from.
No, I decided to meet the meeting.
They had talked to somebody. I think they talked to Milton to see if the schedule was
I'm
clear.
the one who decided.
Yeah, but they made a statement that we already in check, and the museum schedule is clear, and you said, yeah, it is clear.
Because I know.
Right.
Because we had a program here on Sunday
So,
evening.
right, so that's where it came from.
But you see, the whole shit started when Ms. Howard said something about presenting
Right.
proposals at a later date.
Right.
I was ready to take care of business tonight.
Right.
That's what the piece of paper said. That this shit got to be done tonight, man. And we could be down here tonight working out the details of the thing, you see?
Okay, well, all that's past history now. What can we do now?
Sit down at this table and people would clear out of here. And Jim Spade, Doug, Teresa, and let's work the goddamn proposals out. So let's look at the total budget up. See how much money we're going with to start off with. You know what I mean? Man, I tell you, I really get discouraged. I tell you.
I tried not to deal with that whole thing ever since I've been at NDC3, but it's the reality. that
John,
you got to
they're
deal with.
telephone call my wife until I've been about 2 o'clock.
Hey, come here. Jabbar.
I don't want to tell you,
Let him in the office make a telephone call.
Wait, can you get the proposals back? Because we're going to resubmit that somewhere and get some money.
What you mean?
Citizens thing.
Senior citizens. Hey, look, you see, here's the other thing. Hey, look, here's the other thing, man. Is that suppose these four can't ride down there. For some reason, I can't even proceed. We got to have some other stuff back up. Say, look, well, we got to go with this then.
Right. And the thing I thought was senior citizens, because we ain't got none of it. Very few people heard of it.
Now, in the proposal for the communications thing, I indicated we can have youth, we can have elderly, we can have dope addicts.
Some of that stuff can be lumped.
Exactly. That's what we got to sit down at the table and do.
Don't you be over there laughing to me.
Is the tape still running, Richard?